Today, I am going to talk about one juicy topic that actually is about the problem that I see so many women, including myself in the past, that encounters in the relationship, especially in the long-term relationships. So many women want their boyfriends, their husbands to actually do more of certain things, like taking them on dates, planning the dates, buying them flowers, or even simple things, like fixing the lights or certain things at home. However, so many women encounter this resistance and this their partners not wanting to do those things. And when they try to approach them, the partners would be like, oh, I'll do it later, maybe some other time. And then they never really do it. And then many women, they go after their man a lot of times, like they chase after them, and then they, oh, have you done that already? Or you never actually do these kind of things. Why are you not doing this kind of things? We talked about this before, blah, 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 blah. And this actually leaves the woman and the man both really frustrated. And then it actually goes to a loop that actually adds more distance, basically. So what happens is that when we go to someone, men or women, like when we go to someone with this energy of wanting them to do something, and we go with them like, oh, you're not doing this, etc., it will trigger most of the time the resistance, the lack of willingness to do those things. And actually, many people would like even want to rebel against it. And it all happens in a subconscious way. So sometimes people, the more they hear that, the more they feel rebellious, and then they do the opposite. And you see, even if someone feels like doing something for you, if you try to remind them like all the time because you cannot trust them, then they will start to want to not do it on purpose because they don't want to submit to a demand. And that obviously doesn't create a good pattern, a good dynamic in the relationship, right? Because then women would be feeling more and more resentful. And what many would often do is that they cannot trust their partners to actually listen to them and do the thing. And it is really frustrating. And many women end up doing things by themselves. And what happens is that then the resentment will gradually build in the relationship. And it makes the dynamic just worse and worse. So every time that you feel the need to ask them something, and you have less and less trust that they would do it, then the energy that you come to them would be even more critical. It feels like a criticism, basically. And it feels like, oh, I just cannot trust you kind of energy. And this turns off even more the other person. And of course, it's also important that the other person actually keeps their word, right? We cannot just simply assume that, I'm going to talk to them in a better way, but then they don't really keep their words. So how would I build the trust? Because trust also needs to be built. But since we are talking about how we can, from our side, improve the dynamics, so what we can do from our side is to actually see, when we are already in that level of resentment, of even if we don't really fully are aware of it consciously, there would be a level of resentment that is already established. So when there is already that level of resentment established, especially in long-term relationships, where you already have that pattern of getting frustrated and him not doing what he said that he would do, or not it and being passive, basically. What you can do is that you can start small. For example, you can start to first, it's very important to acknowledge and being aware how you really feel nowadays about asking for support, asking for him to do certain things to fulfill your desires and needs. And you need to be very aware of your resentments. And many women, they disconnect from their own resentments because we are often taught by how, when we grow up as girls, we are often taught that, oh, the woman who resents and gets angry is not the ideal woman and all. And it subconsciously tells us that, oh, we always need to be agreeable, nice, and etc. But it's so important that the first step is to validate how you are feeling. Because without that, you won't be aware of your anger and resentment. And then it comes out in passive aggressive ways that you won't even realize. It would become in your choice of words, choice of actions, in your body language, your tone of voice. And then you will it will sabotage the way you communicate, and it will already turn off the other person before all the conversation would even begin. So that's the first step. And then when you want to ask for a favor, so instead of going there with like a demand, or that almost like a criticism, because like when there is resentment, what we often feel like is like, oh, you really never do this. Why don't you plan dates? Why don't you just take the trash out? Like we are fuming inside, and it's hard to sometimes shift this. But when you go to them, ask them as an invitation for things. Like, for example, let's say that you want them to plan dates. Instead of, going there with all the anger, like all the simmering anger, like, oh, you never plan dates at all. Instead of that, try one day when you are feeling relatively in a good mood and all, and the vibes are good, everything feels really nice and fluffy, and like you are in good mood with him. Then you can go to him and say, hey, I just saw this restaurant and the food looks really nice. Like, see, like showing the on the mobile phone, the Instagram photos. See, look, this looks so nice, isn't it? I would love it if you can take me there one day. It would be so nice, isn't it? So what happens here is that you are doing it as an invitation. And invitation has two things. Like, one is that you're giving them a preview of how good it would feel if he does this, if he fulfills your desire. Like, he would also have a great experience. And second is because when you give them the choice to do it or not, you're not forcing them. And because it's a choice, people will feel more compelled to do what you want them to do, basically. So with these two characteristics of an invitation, it is easier for them to actually do what you want them to do. But when the relationship pattern is already established, meaning that you have been frustrated with them not doing certain things, with their passivity, this might take some time to change the dynamics. So what is important here is that while you fully acknowledge and understand how you feel with this dynamic, so you have a better awareness of where you're standing and how you communicate to them, you also have to give them some grace. So maybe don't expect them to change overnight, but yeah, do small requests, do small invitations. Like maybe just as small as like, hey, can you open the jar for me, please? And yeah, just thank them. Oh, thank you for opening the jar. You're so strong. And yeah, start small and then gradually build it up, because then the person would have before, because since they are also used to the dynamic that was established, if you do it small changes per time, they will gradually be more receptive, because you see, they also need a safe space to actually start to contribute to the better dynamics, right? Because what they are used to is this harsh dynamic that you guys butt heads, you guys might argue a lot about him not doing certain things. So he might, whenever you come to him with a request, his automatic response might already be like, no, saying no, I don't want to. But when you do it gradually, especially, small things like opening the jar, it's not like you would reject those small requests. Then when he's getting more and more used to your positive invitations and then responses, he will emotionally feel safer and safer to step in. Because many men, they actually lost their desire to step in and do things, because there is already a dynamic that is established that makes them turn it off to do so, because it doesn't feel safe for them, because they feel that, oh, maybe whatever I do wrong, which is a very common thing. Because you see, many men, when we ask them of certain things, and they might do, but sometimes they might not do it in the best way. And for example, let's say you want them to help you clean out the dishes, but he didn't do it well in your eyes. And it can be so frustrating, right? Like, why can't he do this like the way, the proper way? But you see, when they do things, and if we like step in right away, oh, it's not like this, you have to do it like this, and if you add frustration, it will turn them off, because they will feel, oh, this is not good for me, I better not do it. And then you step in, and then they just check out because you are handling it. So when they do things that are not really up to what you really desire, let's say, try to appreciate the fact that they are already doing it and give them some grace. And then in other moments, give them direction, but like, you see, imagine that they give you a gift that it's not really like what you like. And I made this mistake before, okay? So I received a gift in the past from a partner, and it was like really not the most beautiful notebook for the drawing book. And I like drawing. So a partner gave me a notebook for drawing that looked quite masculine. And instead of me actually being able to appreciate the gesture that he went all the way to buy the things, that he would try to be thoughtful because he knew that I liked drawing. When he said, oh, just be honest, like, do you like it or not? Instead of like at least appreciating the gesture, I was like, oh, it's not really my style and all. And of course, when people give gifts or compliments, what they actually want is to make people happy, right? When you give something, a gift or a compliment, what you want is to see the other person happy. And the problem is that we are often not really graceful receivers. So what we actually do is that we sabotage these gestures of giving. So imagine that when you give a gift, and it happened to me before, and I actually realized how bad receiving, how not being a graceful receiver can have impact on the other person when I was the giver. So there were times when I gave some women, friends, loved ones, a gift or support or something, a compliment, and they actually, like, their response, for example, for the gifts, is that they try to match, they try to nullify the gesture itself by, oh, I'll also give you a gift back. But then it's not like, you see, there's no problem in reciprocating, but when you're doing it right away, people can feel that you're having some sort of discomfort because you don't want to receive and then owe people back. And so when you're like for example, I give you a gift, and in the second away, you're like, oh, thank you, I also give you a gift back, and yeah, etc., etc. This is like, people will be like turned off subconsciously, like, because you're sending this signal that, oh, I'm not comfortable, don't give me anything, or else I'll have to match, and because I don't want to owe you anything. Then people will be like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't do any more gift givings to you, maybe I shouldn't treat you with anything else since you're uncomfortable. And it happens also with compliments, many women, when we compliment them, oh, you're so beautiful today, wow, this dress is amazing, you're killing it. And then many women, they just, oh, there's nothing, like, oh, you also look beautiful, and like, today I'll just had to do this, I usually don't look like this, or, oh, my dress is just, I found it on sales, promotion, it's nothing, it's actually very cheap. Like, when you do this, then people would, like, they really don't feel like they want to give you something. Oh, and another one like that I have encountered before, like when I gift someone a gift, that I actually knew that they wanted that, because they were talking about how they wanted something like that, and etc. And the person actually then, oh, this actually, when they said thank you, but then as they were like using it for a few days, then they were, oh, this is actually not too useful, I'm not actually using them every day, and etc., etc. And you think, like, when women are not graceful receivers, then the other person will be, okay, I don't really enjoy actually giving them things, because I feel like, first, I feel like a kind of rejection in a way. And then second, it feels like, maybe I'm bothering them. Like, no, I went for an extra mile and all the effort for nothing, like the other person is not happy. So many women, they want to receive more in relationships. They want to be more pampered, but then we often sabotage in the way we being a graceful receiver or not, or in the way that we ask for things, in the way that we express what we need and what we desire, especially when there is already a pattern of frustration that is established in the relationship, unfortunately. So by us starting to be aware of how we are really feeling, like whether it is receiving a gift, a compliment, like, how do I actually really feel, And then to actually wanting to ask the other person for certain things. How are we really feeling? Because when we start to understand how we really feel, then we can see how are we actually coming across, how are we communicating. And for example, if I feel uncomfortable with compliments, with gift receiving, what I can do is that I can acknowledge that, okay, I actually don't always feel comfortable. And why is that? Why is that I feel that I need to reciprocate right away, to feel that I am not owing anyone anything, that I am maybe not troubling anyone anything. And then maybe there are other ways of responding. For example, if someone really has all the way to pick the gift and then wrap it, or comes all the way to give the compliment, then maybe despite the discomfort, I can acknowledge and appreciate it. I can simply say, thank you so much for the gift. Oh, it was really thoughtful for you to remember that I love drawing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the compliment. It makes my day. It makes me happy that I look beautiful today. Thank you. And simply acknowledge the people that are paying attention and that wanted to pamper you, that wanted to gift you something. And even if it's not perfect, and then gradually communicate in other ways, express it in other ways, like, oh, like, I really love this Italian restaurant that they look really tasty. Can you take me there sometime? Like, for example, this could be useful. Imagine that he's taking you to a steaks restaurant. Maybe you don't like the steaks, or maybe some other type of restaurant that is not really your preference. But then you can still say thank you and all. And then the next time you inspire them with something else, like, hey, maybe you can take me to this Italian restaurant, this sushi restaurant. It really looks tasty. See. Yeah. So there are other ways to express ourselves. And when we express ourselves in different ways and starting small, we can gradually shift the dynamic in the relationship. So, welcome to the Blooming Feminine Academy. My name is Monica, and if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe to help my channel grow. And see you next time. Bye.